fire, fire for fire, fire.
Alright, let's watch it. I'm ready. The worst convention ever.
So it's been a while since I
Furries.
talked about one of your favourite hobbies, one you hold near and dear to your heart, but can't let anyone else in your life know about it due to the
Yes, my parents do not know that I like VTubing. Or that I do VTubing, let alone that.
risk of people viewing you like a walking defecation and your family somewhat disowning you.
This picture is so good. Me in 2008 watching my parents fight over the 2008 fucking financial crisis.
No, this video isn't about your War Thunder addiction. And don't worry, this is the last time I will on the War Thunder community. I pinky promise. But a lot of this community probably does play War Thunder anyway. And surprisingly, if they all disappeared, we'd probably have a shortage of military.
Chat, this can't be real. This isn't actually like a military officer, right? This is a joke, right? It's real. I am not getting gaslit into something being real again. I am not Googling it. Furry general in dog mask. No, chat, it's not real. Come on. Retired Colonel Brian T. Connelly. No, it's real? Oh, fuck, man. They had to investigate him. No, chat. No. I thought this was like a pose or something.
Military personnel, programmers, and engineers in the world. And some say this community ranges from a few 100,000 to millions. So someone you know could be a part of this community. And apparently most of them reside in America. Just saying, if you didn't drop the T, you probably wouldn't have this problem and would still have your foreskin. But this community is probably the most targeted and discriminated group on the internet. Obviously, outside of things like race, sexual preference, and gender maybe. But this is the animal cosplaying, Toontown looking, Conker's Bad Fur Day inspired Lola Bunny.
Hey, Conker's Bad Fur Day is a pretty good game.
Interested, yes, that makes you part of the community. If you
Lola
ever held
Bunny!
any interest in Lola Bunny, you're a part of the community now.
True, actually, I've been saying that for years. Yeah, you're a furry if you liked her.
No ifs or buts about it, you're in denial. But this is the fairy community, which has been on the internet for a while now, some saying even before the creation of things like Reddit.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there was someone that made a video talking about how it was actually a newspaper thing. They sent out the furry signal back in the 1980s and 70s too.
Fairies are mainly described as anthropomorphic characters, and if you lack skill points and intelligence, it's basically animals with human characteristics. There are many classes of fairies though. You've got normal fairies, fairies that have no fur at all, and just look like those cats that are overgrown testicles.
I was about to say, it looks like a ball sack.
Similarly, you have scalies that are based on things like lizards and dragons, avians, which are like birds, and for the 50th time, I'm not an avian or
Yes, you are. You're a little bird PNG.
a fairy. It's not a duck, it's not a hedgehog, it's not a beaver. You must have advanced glaucoma if you think that. It is just a cute bird I found in my wall. Anyway,
Furry.
you also have the lesser known fishies, the buggies or insect fairies, and the fairy femboys. Many fairies express themselves through their personas, their own fairy avatar of sorts, which they represent through things like art or their very own fursuit, which are very expensive. Most of these people
$3,000? What the fuck? Wait, no, this is pounds, so it's even more than that.
People must be oil tycoons to afford this stuff, but
5,000 grand, dude. Oh my god. 5 grand for a fursuit.
since its conception, at least on the internet, it has grown
Why is it so
exponentially over the years,
expensive?
but so has the hatred for it. Many hold a distaste for fairies, following the negative stigma surrounding it, viewing most members of the community as degenerate heathens, with many assuming people a part of this community want to do things with actual animals. which is mainly due to the
Unfortunately, there are a very minority group of people who do that. And they call themselves furries. Yeah, I don't know. It does happen.
actions and events surrounding more infamous fairy members, and groups like zoos, which we've talked about before, and even the fairy community itself detests these people and strongly refuses association with them. It is quite easy to find anti-fairy sentiment on the internet, labelled anti-fairs, some wishing physical harm upon fairies. But I personally judge fairies not by the fur on their skin, but by their actions. Please don't send me a pipe bomb in the mail. I know a lot of you are very
I'm sorry, this looks so fucking stupid. The squad rolls up.
capable of doing so and could probably form your own
scary.
militia
I
group
don't
at this
know,
point.
man.
But I assure you, I'm just joking around. But from my personal interactions with fairies, most of them are normal, albeit they are very enthusiastic about the topic. But from what I've seen, it's just a hobby, and they mainly just get a bad rep due to that stigma. But the fairy group, as said before, has grown a lot over the years, to the point where they have their own events like fair cons, which thousands attend per event. And for some reason, some of them summon the fifth sin of gluttony.
Is this an inflation porn fetishist furry suit? Why are you the way you are, man? Yo, it's me! He's got a pizza on his head!
Conventions are something I wanted to talk about today because a lot of them had their fair share of controversies.
This is a classic.
And once again, I keep getting Instagram
Bro.
fair share of controversies, and once...
Brother, you're... I don't, like, okay, this one looks like Chibi's mascot, like, okay, that's kind of cute, but then what the fuck is this thing? Why are you wearing a bikini over your fursuit, chat?
Once again, I keep getting Instagram Reels referring to the topic. How many of my videos have been inspired from Instagram Reels serving me pure slop? But I do miss the person I was before this video, mainly after finding out about the pizza party of October 2021.
What the fuck is that? Like, I feel like I'm chronically online and I know about all sorts of stuff, but I've never heard of the pizza party of 2021. I feel so ignorant.
So fairy conventions are a lot like most other conventions. An overcrowded hotel or convention center with
sweaty people,
any air conditioning, and the same can be said for deodorant and correct hygiene. As a matter of fact, most conventions, especially anime conventions, probably have their own putrid AoE effect.
I remember the only one and only con I ever went to was when I was in school, and it was like pre-2015, and it was at a Hilton hotel, and it was like in the lobby, but like a section behind the lobby that had enough people to like make like a, you know, like where they had like stalls and stuff. Yeah, that shit smelled. Not gonna lie, I could smell it.
Gamma radiation,
and this was a long time ago,
the insides of your nose. Most organizers actually have to remind convention goers to wear deodorant, which is...
Or fucking wash themselves? Hello?
It's something. But as said, fairy conventions are set up like many other conventions. There's panels, small events, stalls for items like art, even a black market for adult items. But fairy conventions are unique in that way.
What?
Where other convention black markets probably have things like naked body pillows and that's it. But fairy conventions have bad dragons, and apparently...
Of course they do.
It's a hobby to collect them now. I personally don't know why you'd want to tickle your colon, but you do you. But how...
I think the worst thing I ever saw was like someone had like a room lined up with them, and I'm thinking to myself, why do you need so many? Just have sex, my god.
Are fairy cons different from things like
Why
comic-cons,
so many?
anime
Like
cons,
20?
and
Do you really
brony-cons?
need them?
Well, obviously it's down to the fact most of the attendees are wearing fursuits. Compared to anime conventions where you would see cosplays you'd probably recognize,
Oh, that's a
at a furry
cool one.
convention you probably won't recognize most characters, due to the fact most of them are their own creations and their
And also, they're all like trying to stand out, so each one of them is more ridiculous than the last. Cause like nobody wants to look like everybody else, and then they start looking like everybody else, so everybody's like outdoing each other.
own OCs. And there are a variety of builds. You've got the people that don't wear any suits at all, and are just there for the experience. You've got ones that only wear their heads because they can't afford the down payment for the rest of the suit. You've got...
Oh man, I just want to go with anything then. Low-key, if I was a furry and I wanted the fursuit and then I could only afford like the head, I just wouldn't go. What the fuck is the point? Everybody knows I'm poor then.
You've got the full fursuits. Some that are even modified to have AC units within them. Then you've got fursuits that look like they have a whole Abrams tank in their stomach.
Looking like the Godskin duo.
And looking like Executioner S'more, who appear to be either fat or somewhat pregnant. These are called fat furs, supposedly most times a form of adiophilia, which is an attraction to gaining weight. I personally don't get it. You'd probably need to refer to a professional in this subject.
Why would you want to fetishize something? You could just go to America and beat your meat to all the Amerifats over there. By the way, I live in America, so I can make that joke.
But there are a lot of fairy cons that occur, once again, mostly in America.
It's okay.
You have cons
We're really
like
fat.
Anthro New England, Midwinter Frolic Anthro Expo, and Fair Squared, all happening this year. There's even VR fairy cons now, like Furry hosted on VR Chat, which apparently has its own private server and was said to be very well prepared with its own worlds. A lot of these conventions...
What is that? Is that a DJ Parakeet? With parakeets on drones?
...own private server and was said to be...
I'm actually fucking shocked. Look, it's a bird DJ drone, and then they're all smaller ones, like... Is this a birds or drones joke?
Very well prepared with
this
its
is
own
funny.
worlds.
Unironically, this is really funny.
A lot of these conventions are non-profit and encourage donations to chosen charities for that convention. I would go so far as to say most fairy conventions are fairly normal in terms of structure and events. However, some conventions have seen their fair share of controversies, to the point where, like fairies themselves, fairy cons carry a
Oh my god, I'm sorry, but like,
to the point.
Come on! Why do you want to be a fat furry? Why couldn't you make yourself a fursuit with like a six-pack and be like, yeah, woo?
Where, like fairies themselves, fairy cons carry a negative stigma surrounding them, especially from outside of the community. And to be honest, giving the benefit of the doubt with the ones I looked into, and one I thought was completely fictional and at most an urban legend, I can see why some people aren't completely sold on
the
fairy
pizza thing again, chat?
even when a majority of them are nothing like any of these. But the first controversy surrounding a fairy con I wanted to talk about is said urban legend. And if you're watching this video whilst eating, this is going to be a good tolerance test for your appetite.
Chat, prepare yourself. I don't even want to know, man. Furry cons are a threat to national security. So many important IT workers in one place. Yeah, I read a statistic that the statistics of a furry being a part of like the military or like a government worker for like IT support, it's actually, like, unironically, when people fly to furry conventions, it's a national security risk.
So, be warned. But first, I need to warn you about something else. Something that will have your nuts quaking with excitement.
What?
Something even you fairies out there can enjoy. We have once again partnered with Gamersubs with their new Kaiju Tran drop, which brings a new cup, apparel, and even a stuffed animal. No, there isn't any femboy cups announced by Gamersubs yet, you sick. But this is a limited time product, so get it whilst you can. And do be warned, a lot of Gamersubs stock does sell out pretty fast, so it might be gone by the time you get this. Don't blame me. Recently I'm still enjoying my guacamole gamerfar inspired by Russian Badger, but I have developed a taste for their new banana propaganda tub. But if you aren't completely sold on buying a tub for yourself, they do have sample packs that are free so you can find the taste for you. Use code ROYAL at checkout for 10% off your order, or just click the link in the description. And going back to the video, we'll be talking about a newly discovered flavour you will not enjoy hearing about at all.
It's under the sauce.
Brace yourself.
There's no cheese on it. It's under the sauce.
It's under the
Now, as I said
sauce.
before, the first controversy I thought was a little hoax, a little joke, a little trolling, if you will. Because I thought nobody in their right mind would do this. It's a joke I even included in my previous videos. And imagine my horror when I found out it was a canon event within this current timeline.
What are you talking about? I'm so scared! What did he do? Put laxatives in a pizza?
And it didn't even happen too long ago. It's even that popular it has its own wiki page describing the events in detail, and disturbingly enough, there is even a video of these war crimes occurring. But what happened? So it was October 2021. COVID at the time was almost over, and the world was slowly returning back to normal, and furry cons were following that trend. The convention Biggest Little Fair Con 2021, held in Nevada, was just wrapping up its own convention, which was very successful. It had plenty of attendees and raised a lot of money for charities like no-kill shelters for animals.
That's
and was like
cool.
every
That's
other
good.
fair con.
Love that.
But little did the organisers know their event would be known for something else. After the conclusion of Biggest Little Fair Con, there was another party just starting. An unofficial after party for the convention, if you
Oh no, is this gonna be like some sick, like, furry orgy?
will. It was advertised a few days prior to the FairCon starting, with multiple tweets and even a PowerPoint presentation, and surprisingly enough, it was a pizza party.
I don't know, man. I've been down enough conspiracy theory, like, rabbit holes to think that pizza party is not a great analogy for something.
Of sorts. Because it wasn't a normal pizza party. First of all, there was only one pizza, and only one person from what we know was actually going to eat the pizza out of 19 attendees in a small hotel room. Now, only one person consuming the pizza wasn't down to the fact it was like a disgusting pizza like pineapple. I still believe if you like that, you deserve to be kneecapped.
Okay, based.
With salt rock shells. And it wasn't down to the fact it was a Papa John's pizza.
Why did they have to include that it's Papa John's? Papa John's already has sheeted pizza. You really had to throw him under the bus like that?
Although this would be free advertising for Papa John's in the future. But this was intended, because only one person was going to eat it because of the ingredients, which was very unconventional at the time. These fairies were the Christopher Columbus of discovering new flavours, because the process of producing said flavour was all 19 attendees gathering around the pizza and adding their own extra topping to.
Oh my god, I think I'm gonna be sick.
Who said pizza,
I think I'm gonna be
that
sick.
being their own lineage, their own genetic code, their own baby goo, some would say.
Ew!
They all nutted on the pizza. All the attendees knew this was going to happen. An open invite to do this activity was posted
That's so foul, bro.
on Twitter, inviting people to come thicken the crust of their pizza. And what's worse is, somebody actually ate the pizza, and there is a video to corroborate it. Obviously,
No, they filmed them? Bro!
I can't show you the video, because
Obviously.
some of them have their sauce squirters still out, and one has theirs in a cage for some reason, and you know...
It's in a cage. No, you're not allowed to come on the pizza.
You can actually see the human bodily fluid sitting on top of the cheese like separated oil. Now, the person that posted this and created the event, to no one's
I
surprise,
can't imagine their fucking goop is even that good either. Like, its taste probably like absolute dog shit. You just went to a con and ate a bunch of garbage food.
was a fairy porn creator. Believe me, I looked at the Twitter and it is just straight up 24/7 porn, or yiffing as the fairies call it.
Yiffing!
I've never seen so many fairballs, but this historical event was in celebration of them reaching 2,000 followers on Twitter. I don't know what their celebration for 10k is going to be, maybe a free use glory hole with burger buns. But this event itself caused a lot of backlash. First due to what happened to the pizza afterwards, as the participants joked they left the cum pizza in the hallway for potentially others to find.
That's actually a crime.
But after people gave them shit for doing this, they quickly clarified they disposed of the pizza, and the whole hallway thing was part of the joke.
No, it wasn't. No, I don't believe that. They probably deleted it, like, or threw it away and then deleted the post. Fucking pussies! They're like, oh no! We got caught making a terrible joke! The term for that is called soggy biscuit. Also, a historian also did a video about Rainfurrest, but I don't remember talking about this part. No, this part is from 2021. Furfest happened in 2015, I'm pretty sure.
Although some people were skeptical. The next fallout was the fact this event was broadcasted all over the internet. It was spread within and outside the furry community, especially due to things like the memes that were generated from it, like the pizza being in the hallway and the pizza itself. The potential consequence of this was that people outside the community may think this is normal for fairies to do, and may assume the worst of them, buying into the stereotype that all fairies must be degenerates. Even people within the community were criticising the creator, as they also thought it would add to the negative stigma surrounding furry.
Unfortunately, it's really easy to stay anonymous as a furry with the whole fursuit thing. So that's why it invites a lot of degenerates like that into the community.
Furries.
It's the same thing with, like, anything that masks your anonymity.
Overall, this event left a stain on the reputation of biggest little faircon, at least for the year of 2021. It also caused some trouble for other events as well, as some people were making custom badges referencing the event and requesting an invitation to the next one. The creator did receive their fair share of hate for this. Once again, it possibly affected the reputation of fairies as a whole.
I'm gonna show my parents
hate for this. Once again,
and they're going to laugh and hug me. No, they're not, man. You're not gonna tell your parents. If you did, I doubt they would laugh and hug at you. Yeah, guys, I just ate a bunch of guys' jizz off of a pizza. Yeah, haha. Guys, like, laugh. No, that's a lie detector moment for me, dog.
Again, it possibly affected the reputation of fairies as a whole, due to the fact this story reached a lot of people, and it became a whole ass meme. And the creator of it was banned from a few other fairy cons, albeit temporarily, but it didn't directly harm anyone, except for the fact they probably didn't screen participants for STDs, which they probably should have. But the next
they don't care. If they ate the cum pizza, I doubt they cared anyway.
Next one I wanted to talk about actually did do some damage.
Lake of chlorine
What's
gas.
a furry convention?
Did I get that wrong?
What's a furry?
So this event took place at the Midwest Fairfest convention in 2014. An event that usually operates from December 5th to the 7th. A convention, once again, like every other furry convention, with around 4,500 attendees. And it was usually held in a large hotel. This year wasn't really going to stand out like any other year, or any other furry convention.
That movement right there reminded me of the Tony the Tiger thing. I don't know, man. I feel like, yeah, sure, furries get a lot of flack, but they're so fucking horny. Do you guys forget how Tony the Tiger got sexually harassed on Twitter? Do you guys remember that? A bunch of horny, like, Twitter users and furries would, like, constantly harass him?
Until it did, and it could have possibly led to people
delete the
dying.
account and shit.
On December 7th, the convention was going ahead, and everything seemed normal until around 12 o'clock, where people began to smell things like bleach and chlorine, some even saying it smelled like a swimming pool. Many of the event attendees and hotel staff began to complain about irritations in their eyes and breathing, so the emergency services were called. And later a hazmat team arrived to identify the cause of the smell, where it was discovered there was a broken glass container containing chlorine powder on the 9th floor stairwell.
Why though? Why would you bring that? That is so bad. Chlorine? Yeah, it can kill you.
Now, chlorine powder can be fatal if
Yeah.
you're exposed to it for an extended amount of time in an enclosed space with no ventilation. So the event and hotel as a
Hotels
whole
could,
were
yeah.
quickly evacuated, including people that were not even taking part in the event. Everyone was forced outside onto the street where news reporters quickly arrived to cover the story. 19 people were hospitalized with respiratory issues relating to exposure to the chlorine.
Yeah, you can stop breathing because of it, even for like a couple of hours of exposure. And I can't really imagine that hotels are very well ventilated.
And it took until
That's
5 a.m. for
horrible.
the chemical to be removed and the hotel properly ventilated, where they started letting people back into the hotel. The good thing about this event was nobody died, and it's a good thing
That's
the
good.
emergency services were called when they were, limiting the amount of people exposed and harmed by the substance.
Can give you
Now,
permanent
why
lung
was there
damage.
chlorine powder at a fairy event? Well, I initially thought it was down to the cleaning staff for accidentally spilling something, but where would cleaning staff get pure chlorine to the point where it would actually kill somebody? It's like saying they had access to like Novichok or something. Or
Nah, man. If you have chlorine powder, that's usually a sign that you went to like a lab or went to a school. Yeah.
apparently it wasn't incidental, but intentional.
Yep.
According to the emergency services, it appeared that somebody purposely did this. Somebody went to the convention and purposely broke a glass container, releasing the dangerous substance. But nobody knew why. Were they targeting the fairies or somebody else at the hotel? Well, even to this day, nobody knows. Because nobody
Really?
was caught or arrested for the crime.
They didn't even have like security footage? Damn.
But one of the most controversial factors, except for people possibly dying, was the coverage of the situation by news outlets, specifically by MSNBC.
Oh no. Normie news talking about furries.
Due to the fact when the newscasters were covering the event, they began laughing at
Oh no! Oh no! I actually feel really bad. It's a really sad but kind of funny story.
their newfound discovery that we're fairies.
Hospitalized at a furry convention in Illinois after what's being called an
What's a
intentional link of
Dude, I'm actually fucking dead.
chlorine
What's a
gas.
furry convention?
Did I get that wrong?
Along with convention and
Are you happy with yourself? So cringe. Yeah, and I probably make more money for than you, bitch. Get the fuck out of here. You dumbass fucking first time chatter.
attendees into the cold night.
Yeah, I
Many
love
still
being
dressed
cringe.
in their
It's
furry,
awesome.
furry costumes. Hotel
Where
was
you going?
contaminated.
Hey,
Guests came back
Come
inside
back.
at 4 a.m.
She laughed.
Police still
come
treat
back.
the matter as a criminal
Could
investigation.
you check on Mika, see if she's okay? She's over there.
No, don't go follow her. She's probably under the table fucking dying of laughter.
This guy must have already known what fairies are or just has the most magnificent poker face. However, some people within the fairy community didn't like this, as you know.
Oh, come on, man. If someone laughed at VTubers like this, I would not get upset. It's a niche hobby. Like, oh, I'm an anime girl on the internet yapping. Like, really?
People could have died,
Come on,
and this
man.
was a serious event, but these guys were kind of just laughing at the fact that they just discovered a fairy. And some people attributed this event
Oh, it's not because of fucking people being hospitalized. I hate that fucking sentiment. They've never heard of a furry in their life. It's funny. Come on.
and the coverage of it to how much people hate fairies overall, or just don't understand them. Also, the event organizers didn't offer a refund at all. However, the next convention,
That's
although
fucked
it was
up.
significantly less dangerous than the one I just mentioned, it didn't show the fairy community in the best light.
Oh, I've seen that one. The fucking diaper.
Not even the carrion eaters are interested in your radiated corpse.
That
Rainfurrest
was a
Con in
Fallout reference.
2015 was a con where the fairy community looked like absolute fiends, mainly due to their shenanigans. said shenanigans that were conducted like they were trained in guerrilla warfare, with how much damage they caused.
This is censored, but I will give you a visual. I'm pretty sure his ass is hanging out. Yeah, his butt cheeks are on full display.
From this.
Or was it diapers? Oh, I thought his ass cheeks were on full display. Display. Oh, it's diapers? Okay.
Which may have contributed to the fact that said con was never hosted again and was suspended indefinitely. So Rainfurrest Con
Shame for
2015
display.
was a fairy convention held in a Hilton hotel near
Yeah, that's common. Hilton hotels, man.
the Seattle SeaTac Airport in
Yeah.
Washington. Having stayed in a Hilton hotel myself, it is definitely RNG. Some Hiltons will be the
Yes.
best stay of your life, and some others you would think you were staying at a cheap motel with copious amounts of pubic hairs and semen stains. There is no in between. But that year the theme was swords and sorcery, and in the opening ceremony, in conjunction with the theme, the organisers dispelled the rumour that the FairCon was under an evil curse.
I am absolutely sure there is no truth to the rumor that Rainfurrest is under an evil curse.
Little did they know it was under an evil curse, as all of the 7 sins were about to be committed. Within the few days the event was active. There were a lot of things that happened at this event, but to save your time, so you can go back to whatever mundane activities you had to do today, here's a short list of what happened. Somebody purposely flooded a public toilet within the hotel by messing with the screws that kept it secure, and even flooded the basement. They broke one of the elevators of the hotel. They threw multiple towels into a hot tub and blocked the main hot tub pipe, so it was permanently damaged and required repairs. There were reports of filled diapers being shoved into toilets and left.
What is wrong? Okay, yo, like, you have a degenerate kink, but why do you have to make everybody else pay for it, man? You're such a foul creature.
On top of cars, some saying the smell was terrible. People were going out in public in adult diapers and BDSM gear. Someone allegedly shat in the pool and left a floating log in it.
Pool's closed, man.
Smoke detectors were removed from some rooms, obviously so they could smoke within their own room. Litter and fairy stickers were left all around the hotel, some showing NSFW fairy yiffing or something.
Buddy, come on. There's other people that use the Hilton Hotel, you sick fuck. You can't help yourself, man.
There were reports of drug dealing, apparent drug overdoses, and copious amounts of alcohol consumption. Some attendees were said to be pissing on the beds, and most rooms were severely damaged or required a lot of cleaning.
Furries, man.
That is just a short list, by the way. This event was an absolute disaster. Or was it? Now, in recent years, there have been a lot of videos about this convention, many saying the same things I just said. Although I did miss the part where they apparently drilled a glory hole in the toilet. That would have been my...
I'm so glad that VTuber conventions aren't, like, that bad. Like, yeah, there's people who stalk, like, creators and are, like, weird and run around and try to find them. But at least those people don't shit and piss and cum on pizzas and... Yes, yeah, I mean, I don't know, maybe one day, sure, yeah.
Favourite part to cover. But there is a lot of contention to some of the claims made. First, some of the people that supposedly attended it claim there has been a lot of misinformation spread about the con, intentionally by some fairies that do this at other cons.
You'll notice that in a lot of, let's say, videos and other places that have covered Rainfurrest, you'll notice that there's one Twitter account that shows up multiple times that was somehow able to catch and document so many of these things that were happening that they just so happened to be right in front of a Twitter user by the name of just made a bunch of shit up.
I tried looking for the Twitter user they were talking about, but they apparently don't exist anymore, at least when I tried. Although there was a big drug problem at the event. which even the organizers years later admitted to.
It lists a bunch of bullet points about things that they had a problem with.
I can't imagine being this guy. I don't know, like, the cojones, man. The cojones.
So let's start with, if there is 10, I don't know that there's 10, I think there might be more or less.
More!
Only 2 of those bullet points did not talk about drugs. So, in my mind, drugs was the major problem.
Second, events like the diapers and BDSM wear in public were supposedly outside a furry kink festival, so...
And also, you're in front of kids that are also at the hotel? What is wrong with you? You have to keep in mind that these hotels are usually hosting a con, right? And then there's, like, other people attending it? Like, normal people that aren't part of the con.
They went just
There's
walking
kids?
around all day like this.
That's
I
so
don't know if
foul.
that's positive PR or negative PR, but yep, okay. But it was said that some of the claims were created by trolls within the community.
At ours, there was one bathroom that got flooded, and some people spread the rumor or said that it was sabotage, and other people just said it was a big guy sitting on the toilet and it broke. So that's a 50-50, who knows. Vandalism was like a very minor part. Never in the entire duration of us being at Rainfurrest did the hotel ever approach us about paying for any damages to public spaces. Vandalism was not talked about in that letter.
They didn't even care about the fucking vandalism. They destroyed rooms and they did not even bring it up.
But there definitely was a drug problem, and the event did eventually get shut down.
But other things that were talked about were things like 2,000 nitrous oxide cartridges. Just
Oh, they were pulling a Kanye. They were going on that crazy juice, man.
left there. 2 drug overdoses that required ambulances. The quote-unquote week-long party. So, a drug arrest in the adjacent parking lot, a person that police believed has ties to the Rainfurrest group. So again, and that was a drug dealing arrest. So this is sort of where it got a bit extreme for Rainfurrest. Yeah, Rainfurrest volunteer staff member was reported to have sexually assaulted a female. The responding sheriff charged the man. Can't get too much into what happened. It happened in a public space, so we called the police as soon as we found out. We called the hotel in as soon as we found out. The sheriff came over. He was handcuffed, brought to the car, and
Chat. The nitrous oxide keeps sticking in my head. How many whippets do you need to get high? Oh, AI can't oh man. Google doesn't help me because they think I'm gonna fucking they think I'm gonna do whippets on stream. At least 10? Only 1, but it's only for 2 seconds. No! Ask Grok.
Greg, how many whippets do I need to get high?
Let's just say it's a lot. It's a lot of fucking whippets that you need, man. Went to the dentist to get me some nitrous. Went to a furry convention. Now I'm in diapers. Yo, bars? Hello? Hello, bars?
then unhandcuffed and let go. I don't know what the status of any charges are. It's, a guest room smoke detector was tampered with and discarded in a guest corridor. Yep, and that is, unfortunately, one that is very serious.
And allegedly some people within the community were sending this information to any hotel and convention they were looking at for the next event, so they just couldn't find a place for the next convention or to move this convention, so they just cancelled it.
The point where we have decided that we're going to try to find a new venue, we go around, we try to find a bunch of new venues.
Yeah, and they all talk to each other in the town. Yeah, that's actually a really common strat, because they kind of have a monopoly on, like, what events happen in certain towns and, like, what hotels can host what, because they have to, like, work together. This makes sense.
Couldn't find anything in the local area. It seemed strange, almost as if like
Blacklisted!
they were being talked to.
Yeah.
And so then we go to Spokane, and that's when we find out for sure that there is a furry out there who is sending letters to every potential venue for Rainfurrest.
But that is the other side of the story, so to speak.
I don't know. I think that all those hotels and stuff talk to each other. There's no way that such a disastrous thing happened. Like, people throwing diapers filled with shit, clogging the toilets with diapers, whippets on premise, getting people overdosing on drugs. Like, really? You don't think that they talk to each other? Yeah.
I personally wasn't there. I was a little spam cell playing Call of Duty Black Ops 3 at the time, but I would have loved if that glory hole story was true. It would have been so funny. Because, like, how does a glory hole at a fairy convention work? Like, is there a flap on the front, or does the fair just get stuck in there? It's a conundrum. So in conclusion, these were some of the more notable fairy conventions that may have generated the negative stigma surrounding fairies and fairy cons. I don't think all fairy cons are like this, but from what I have seen, most fairy conventions are normal.
They can
although
be.
I've never taken part in it because, once again, not a part of that community. But I think some content creators that have actually investigated fairy cons in person discover pretty quickly there's nothing nefarious happening at most of these events, and in some cases they end up looking like the weird ones.
Gonna get on me. Almighty Tim, make us furries! Yeah!
Fairies, as always, still have a negative stigma around them, some saying they're all degenerates due to some members of the community, but hey, if that was true, it's also true that every Hearts of Iron player is a femboy. Also,
that's a fact.
Do not deposit your seed onto consumable items for the love of God, even if you're bulking and need that protein boost. Just don't do it.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
that's all I had to say, and bye-bye.
I hate that. I hate that so much. I wish I was the person before I found out about the goop pizza. Go check out the fanboy bird. Do I feel good about for missing this video? Probably good. Probably good, chat. I ain't gonna hold you. That was awful. I hated that. But also educational. Furries are kind of fucking wild, man.